All right, I got some lawyers around me. I want to talk about this because I heard the president just say some what I thought were pretty shocking things weighing in on this. And I know they were brief comments, but he talked about this, Jackie, like this was run-of-the-mill justice. He got the same thing everybody else gets. He got the same jury. He got the same kind of case, same kind of judge, got the same kind of access to evidence and charges. And I don't think any of that's true. I don't think it was a run-of-the-mill at all. Nobody would have had this brought unless they were named Donald Trump.
I think you're right. And I think that he was laying out how our justice system works to convince the American people that the former president got a fair share. But it was at the end with that little grin of his where he started to poke jabs. And he said that it was dangerous. It was reckless. It was irresponsible to say that this case was rigged. He said that the justice system should be respected, and that's where the irony is.
Can we talk about that irony? Because this is the same administration that when they were ruled by the Supreme Court that they couldn't do student loans, they said, too bad, we're going to do it anyways. We're going to find a new way. We're going to circumvent you. This is the same administration in AOC when they overturned Roe v. Wade that says, well, we don't believe in the Supreme Court anyways. So it has to go both ways. We either believe in the justice system and respect it no matter what, or both parties can claim that it's rigged. But you can't claim it's rigged when it doesn't go your way and then blame the other candidate.
But he said that. That's what the irony is. He said that.
This is why people, okay, we're talking about New York, not the rest of America. I get that. But people are watching New York, and we know what happens in New York often ends up happening elsewhere. They see this and they say, this is garbage. This is not justice. And I don't want that in my backyard eventually because I get a DA like Alvin Bragg. And other cities have DAs like Alvin Bragg. So I do think it's fair for America to watch this and say, we've got to make some decisions because it's not going to stop at the borders of Manhattan.
It was also interesting. He said that as he went through the process that he will have an opportunity, meaning the former president, like every other American, to appeal this conviction like anybody else, he said. But what's so interesting when you go back to President Trump's comments this morning, and I know he got a little bit in the weeds, he talked a lot about the sort of due process errors that were made in this trial. More than anything, he did not get to establish a fair defense for himself. He brought up how the objections were being made to every aspect of Bob Costello's his testimony and how the judge would sustain them and not allow him to talk and give his opinion or answer the question. He talked about how they weren't allowed to bring their federal elections expert, Brad Smith, in to weigh in on the impact of this. He didn't mention it this morning, but I'll add it. The jury instructions being so convoluted from Judge Merchan and being so confusing. These are procedural technicalities that on appeal really need to be analyzed and broken down.
I'm pleased to say that I believe we have Jonna Spilbor with us, a criminal defense attorney who we can go to now. Jonna, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Curious your thoughts after yesterday's ruling. Is overall capitalism at risk from some of these progressive policies, these progressive decisions that are coming out?
You hit that on the head. My first thought, my second thought. My first thought was I felt so sorry for our country as a whole. Our second thought is what we are witnessing is the gestation period of communism. This is scary stuff. The entire trial, the entire case, really, from the moment that it was indicted to the moment that the jury came back with its completely erroneous verdict, was nothing more than coordinated corruption, unmatched, a level we have never seen before. It's scary, not just for Donald Trump. It is scary for the entire country, you guys.
But what's interesting, Jonna, also is we've seen moments in time where something historic happens. And I think back to Bill Clinton's impeachment, right? Ultimately, we all take a breath and the country moves forward. He wasn't ousted from office. He wasn't convicted. And hence, life went on. And there's a period where, you have this aha moment when the verdict comes out, but life is going to go on. And Donald Trump has vowed to continue throughout the process and fight this for every American, for the Constitution, and to uphold our rights moving forward. We think about the appeal process, and I'm wondering if you think that he will have a more fair chance on appeal, it's still going to be an appointed judge. But Judge Merchan, it was like he had an axe to grind specifically here.
Yeah, Judge Merchan created such a kangaroo court that I'm surprised he hasn't grown a pouch. Will this case be uprighted on appeal? Will it be turned right side up? Yes, it will. But you bring up a very good point. We cannot sit back and just wait for the appellate process to do the right thing. Meanwhile, Donald Trump will be running for president. He could be president, you guys, by the time the appellate process concludes. We can't get comfortable with that. This was a practice run. They got away with it at the top level of this corruption. And if they can do it to Donald Trump, they could do it to me, you, your families, anybody. So it's not enough. It's a great start to get Donald Trump back in the White House, but it's not enough. We can't forget what we just witnessed over the course of the last 6 weeks.
Jonna, will this eventually end up in the Supreme Court?
Wow. Okay. Probably not. But here's why I'm saying that. If the case is righted on appeal, and it should be, you guys, so many rulings that Judge Merchan made that were completely reversible error. So many that I predict the appellate process, whether it's the appellate division or the Court of Appeal, they won't even get to them all. They won't need to, right? They can handle the first couple and then call it a day. So in that sense, I don't think it'll make its way up to the Supreme Court. Now, if I'm wrong and they don't do the right thing and this conviction stands when he's actually convicted, sentenced and convicted, then yeah, I can completely see that, because let's not forget, despite what Alvin Bragg said, this was not business as usual. This was political, pure and simple.
Jonna, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.